Support for this series comes from NPR sponsor GoDaddy. Making a different future starts with you. That's why GoDaddy does more than help you find a name you can create, you can sell, and get found online. So any small business can be a driving force to create change or build an empire. So whatever it is you have in mind that will help make a different future, find everything you need to get started at GoDaddy.com. Because the future isn't decided yet. It's up to us to make it happen. Start different at GoDaddy.com. Hey, it's Guy here, and welcome to How I Built This Fellows Edition from NPR. For this year's How I Built This Fellowship program, we selected 10 early-stage entrepreneurs looking to take their big ideas to the next level. Today, I'm talking with Dinesh Tadepalli, co-founder of Incredible Eats. Now, imagine eating a bowl of chili out of a bread bowl. You can eat the chili, you can eat the bowl, but you're still left with a metal or a plastic spoon. Well, imagine a spoon you didn't have to throw away. That's basically Incredible Eats.
It's like a crouton shape in the shape of a spoon. So instead of crouton topping, you just eat your spoon as your topping.
So edible cutlery, right? Because you go to take out and you get that little plastic thing with the plastic fork or the spork, and you throw it away. And it's just and we've been doing this as humans for decades and decades. And you're like, hey, you can eat it. Let's eat it.
That's where I actually got this idea. When I went with my young son and daughter to get an ice cream, I had an ice cream with a plastic spoon, obviously, and I throw it. And I saw so many of the plastic spoons and cups in the dustbin, in the bin. And I was like, I'm a person who was aware of the plastic pollution and what issues it causes. And still, I did not act on what I know that it's harming the environment and it's going to harm my kids and my future. So that's the seed of thought. Then we realized, okay, I need to make something that makes people think twice before they take the next plastic spoon or spork in their hand.
So this idea kind of came to you in a eureka moment, or did it come to you over time?
I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I had that itch, to be frank, but obviously I had to secure myself and my finances, and we come for a master's here and then a job. So a general immigrant journey. Then as an angel investor, I invested in a couple of startups, but one of them failed. And that gave me a realization. If I'm going to waste some money on it, let me waste on myself. Let me do the entrepreneurship because I already had that itch and learn it. Even if I'm going to lose some money, let me experience that and learn it. Around the same time, this event happened where I went to the ice cream shop and I had this realization, and I went into depression. I was like, why did I use so many plastic in my life? Knowing that, I'm going through a lot of documentaries, I have plastic pollution, and like latest news is that even the babies' placentas have microplastics in them. So knowing all this, I was still using that, and that led me to this company.
So tell me, what were you doing at around that time when this idea came to you? What were you doing professionally?
Oh, yes. I have been an engineer by background, electrical engineer. I worked in about 5 semiconductor companies right now at Intel. I still work from 9 to 5, and I take care of my business from 7 to 2 a.m.
Wow. So tell me about the process. I mean, you are a semiconductor engineer, so you have an expertise in a certain area. I don't want to make any assumptions, but I am going to assume you're not an expert in food products or food manufacturing. Maybe you're a really great home cook. I love cooking. But I wouldn't know how to make a spoon that can withstand hot and cold and doesn't crumble. How did you start to build this thing?
I started this journey to find the best alternative to plastic. So I met my founder, Krival, in India. He was also trying to do something in the terms of edible cutlery. I came across this concept a few years ago, but it was not able to commercialize or mass manufacture edible cutlery. I saw some small number of people doing it. Then we went and realized what's the problem with it. The machinery is what is lacking. And we are engineers by background. So we put our brains together and we figured out the way to make a machine that can automate the manufacturing of edible cutlery. So that's our strength. So we have a trade secret mold and a patent pending process, and that automated the edible cutlery.
So you made the machine to make the cutlery, right? And presumably it's got to sort of push through this stuff, all the raw ingredients through some kind of mold that dries it. And so really it sounds like the trick wasn't coming up with the ingredients. It was coming up with the machine to make it.
Yes, you got that right. So we use compression molding. So the flour, and after it gets mixed, it gets compressed and we heat it through baking process, like a regular baking process.
And what is the spoon and the cutlery? What is it made out of?
Oh, it's the base ingredients are wheat, oat, Chickpea, brown rice.
It's basically like a mixture of flours, of grains, to
Yes.
produce this dough that is protruded, right, or extracted, I don't know the word, and then it makes the spoon. The spoon is baked or heated,
It's baked.
and then you got it. You got the
Yes,
edible
yes.
spoon. By the way, what flavors do the cutlery, do the spoons and forks, and what flavors do they come in?
On the sweeter side, we have chocolate and vanilla.
Hmm.
And on the savory side, we have oregano chili, black pepper, and plain.
And it's like a snack. It's like your post snack.
Yes,
You get your
yes.
bowl of
So
chili, and then you've got your chili oregano spoon to eat after.
our first order was 150,000 spoons from a caterer. That's my first order. I didn't even sell a spoon before that.
Wow.
So when I introduced that, I had to scale immediately. So that's why I sold my home. I used all my proceeds and in scaling up the
Wow.
facility. And then I fulfilled that order.
That's, I mean, 150,000 spoons for your first order is incredible. I know you're an engineer and you probably managed to save some money, so you financed this yourself, but this is not
Yes.
cheap. I mean, right, to build the machinery, how are you financing this?
So I thank my dad for making me very financially strict and disciplined. So we have budgets every month, including a charity budget. So those budgets helped me save quite a bit since my 10 years of work, including me buying a home around 2013 area when the house price was very low, like kind of low in the Bay Area. So by the time when I came to 2019, the house price was shot up and the entire profits I just invested back in the machinery, and whatever savings I have like helped me bootstrap in the last 2 years.
Wow. So let's talk about, how do you distribute this? So far, you've been in business for 2 years. This is your side business. You still have a full-time job. You're not quite ready to jump into this full-time yet, but it is your passion, clearly. Where are you initially? Where did you start to see traction? You mentioned caterers. Where else have you reached out to? Where have you had success in getting people to use the product?
So we started introduce the product in 2019. That's the first show I went was Cater Source. That's where I got the first order from the caterer. So for me, since I was not in the food industry, I need to understand how the food industry works. You can't learn that from Google because it's a traditional industry, right? So you can't learn from any books or anything. So I decided to go to 10 trade shows in the entire 2019. I won 5 awards. And I, in fact, convinced some of the trade shows to give me a free booth because this helps the planet. And I got the free booth. So I just used some frugal and wacky marketing practices. And any pitch competition, I used to sign up and I won some awards. And that gave me free PR. And all these shows, the free PR awards, all helped us sell to 25 ice cream shops across the US in about 3 to 4 states. In the weekends, I used to go door to door in the Northern California and the Bay Area to ice cream shops, and I sold them. And a huge premium ice cream chain brand, they started doing a trial with us like February of 2020. But unfortunately, because of COVID, my entire traction in the B2B food service section got paused. It didn't stop, but it got paused
Yeah.
because it was doing very bad.
Yeah.
And one more interesting thing is I used a technique to approach a huge celebrity. She's a very famous pop singer.
Who is the pop singer? You got to tell us.
I don't have the permission to disclose it in public, but she's very famous.
All right, we'll just say famous pop singer, but how did you approach the famous pop singer? Like, how does one approach a famous? I mean, you can't just walk up to them on the street because they're usually surrounded by a phalanx of people.
Yeah, so the fun part there is I heard her on one of the late night shows saying that she wants to make all her concerts plastic free as much as she can in 2020. I reached out to PR agencies. They're like, oh, give me like this many thousands of dollars per month. Like, I don't have that money. I'm not going to do that. So what I did was I Googled her managers and I just made some 50 combinations of emails. And I just sent emails to them saying that, hey, I have an amazing product. I just heard the singer saying that she wants to reduce plastic. Do you want to take a look? And in 3 days, I got a mail back saying, send me a pitch. That's it. Just one small sentence. Wow. And it started there, and she introduced me to Live Nation, and Live Nation introduced me to concert halls, and I sold my first few thousand spoons to a concert hall. All this without spending a penny on marketing.
Well, have you had any investors come aboard, or are you entirely self-financed?
Till 2021, I was self-financed, but in early 2021, we got selected to an accelerator program by Big Idea Ventures. So we got our first small check. So I don't have to spend my savings anymore. So that's a good thing. But because of COVID, we switched to B2C now. And we got a retail order for 1,000 stores from TJX group of companies, even without me having a retail box.
Wow.
So I just told them, please give me some time. And COVID gave me that time. I just sat back, read some books, designed my own packaging, made my own website. I used my cousin who was an UX grad. He helped me to make the packaging, all the elements. I told him what needs to be done. And I read books, got some feedback, and went live into the retail stores.
Wow.
And by end of 2020, we were in 1,000 stores with a 95% sell-through.
And how do you make sure? I mean, I have to assume that you can't, it's hard to patent the idea of an edible spoon, right? It's probably very hard to do that. So how do you make sure? Because they're going to be, as you grow, they're going to be competitors. They're going to be other people who are trying to do the same thing. How do you make sure to stay ahead?
One, we have the process can be patented. Obviously, the design, people can tweak it and you can't really claim anything there. So we did patent the process. It's still pending. But our trade secret is our mold design. The 2 years and 83 trials worth of effort is our design of a mold, which actually makes the cutlery. That is trade secret. No one knows about it. So we kept that cautious, and the rest of it is patented.
I know, Dinesh, that you have attended a bunch of workshops as part of your fellowship. You went to the Perfecting Your Pitch workshop. I was there too with Jennifer and Nabil. What stood out for you from that workshop?
So something that really hit me like I liked a lot as Nabil mentioned that we need to be kind of natural. Don't be like too prepared for a pitch because it shows out, right? It shows as if you're reading something or memorizing something and getting it out.
And there's this fine line between being practiced and feeling practiced. And so I would try and mix up the words you use during all the same things. I would try and mix up the words as a way of trying to have you come off a little less practiced in that pitch. It doesn't mean that you have to react and get derailed every single slide, but you want to find at least one moment or two moments and start a back and forth with them, keep them engaged over time, because it's storytelling. There's a little bit of theater along with just telling them what you want to do.
So that's something I always do myself. To be frank, I don't have the time to practice a lot. So I just go extempore, just go do just talk and just give the pitch on the spot. That kind of give me a boost that, okay, it's not a bad thing that I'm doing. Maybe it's for the good.
That's Dinesh Tadepalli, co-founder of Incredible Eats. Thanks for watching the How I Built This Fellows edition. For more information about the Fellows, go to summit.npr.org/fellows. This message comes from NPR sponsor GoDaddy. Making a different future starts with you. GoDaddy helps you create, sell, and get found online so you can create change or build an empire. Start different at GoDaddy.com.